Sucking to mouth. So I eat this brownie. So I guess like nifty, when you ask like if I was okay, like even when I'm okay, I'm not never actually like okay, and that's just part of being chronically mentally ill and like having like the degree of mental illness that I do, and like the severity of it is that like it's just never like things aren't like it might be like okay relative to other times, and I might not be like needing immediate hospitalization, or I might not be needing like immediate care, but like things aren't like usually okay to most degrees. And I don't talk about, I know it seems like I talk about everything that enters my mind. And I do share quite a bit more on like social media and stuff about like being trans and being mentally ill and like the stuff that I deal with. I do talk about them quite a bit more than like a lot of people would. But like I promise you, like it's really just scratching the surface, because this is like all consuming in my life. Like I don't show my yarn stash and then like to like brag when I'm like unpacking, because like first of all I'm not like, why would I bragging? It's really weird and like a behavior that is different from what I'm seeking. But like I also like, for me, like crochet and like fiber arts and crafting has been like one of the only consistent things while I've been disabled that have like consistently brought me peace and like helped keep me as sane as possible. So it's like, well, you can be like, oh, you have too much yarn, but it's like this is fucking like mental health treatment for me. And like for most like my visits to like psychiatrists or psychologists, like they're always like, well, what do you do to keep yourself busy? Because being disabled, and no matter what you're disabled for, you know that the most crippling thing of all is fucking being bored and not having anything to fill your day. Like obviously there are hurdles that we face individually based on our disabilities that make life harder, and those are very difficult. But the realization that your whole life is going to be nothing and empty every day, all day, for the rest of your life is a really tough realization to come to. And when you like, and a lot of us don't think about that ahead of when we get disabled, because it wouldn't be a productive mindset, right? But like, um, no, Peter Browning fell on the couch. Oops. So, this is really good. Um, so, uh, like for me, like crafts are part of my like therapy regimen, and they're a really important fact. And like, do I have impulse like control issues with like spending and getting into crafts and stuff like that? Yes. Have I always? Yes. But like also this is like an extreme form of like me taking care of myself. So when I get comments, and I don't even if I'm like I see it and I don't necessarily respond and like ha ha ha, like super like jovial spirits. I don't assume like malice unless you like keep going on it. But like for me, I know that it's part of like my mental health journey. Um so yeah. Oh yeah. No, my doctors are like, you are creating, like you spend most of your days creating with your hands. You are doing a mindful activity. Like there's literally like like my doctors are almost willing to circumvent the impulse buying because it's so good for me. So like I've never had a doctor be like stop crocheting. Like never ever in a million years do I think I would ever have a doctor say don't do it. They might be like, you need to chill out, just like. But one of the hard things with moving is like I needed to downsize quite a bit of yarn, and like my parents who helped me with the move. I'm not trying to shit talk them. I'm just like kind of telling you what happened. They were like, just throw it all away, and I'm like, so then will I do all day? Will I just like stare at the walls? Like, is that what you want? Like, I'm not the kind of person who like I don't want to watch TV all day. A lot of people can and want to, and that's fine. But I can't do that. It drives me fucking nuts. I need to keep my hands busy. Otherwise, like, I'm wreaking havoc upon this world. Like, I need to keep my hands busy. I need to be doing something. And then other times, it's like, I have people who they're like, well, like, oh, you can make stuff and you can sell it. And I do try to sell my shit. I promise I do. But I've been making a lot of stuff that people haven't been buying. So this big box of stuff that I've made over the years that people don't buy. And that sucks, you know, because I'd like to sell it. I'd like someone to get some use out of it because I know I sure fucking am not. Like, I have like a couple shawls and like, I don't wear shawls. I'm never going to wear a shawl. They were cool to make at the time, but like, I don't have any use for them. I don't know anyone who wears them. So it's like, okay, well, they're just taking up space. So it's hard because like it's important to have hobbies, but when your hobby you only do your hobby because it makes you money, well the minute it stops making you money and you stop deriving any enjoyment from it, you like the depression that results from that is extreme, right? And so like I like have to be careful about not only valuing the my worth based on like whether or not my crafts sell or something. Like it's okay to have something that's for me that I can be passionate about but don't need other people to buy for me to enjoy. Um and um so like my mental health has been far worse than I've like let on, and probably far worse than I ever will let on openly on social media. It's so involved. And I do tell you all often if I'm going into treatment or something like that, because I do just want to promote like normalizing the sense that like sometimes like you do need additional help. It's okay to get help, and whether or not that's going to see a psychiatrist or therapist, or it's going to a residential facility or a hospital, like whatever you need, it's okay to have that support system in place, but also recognizing that those systems aren't necessarily uh, available to a lot of people, and a lot of people have unhealthy coping mechanisms that they use. I'm not saying all mine are healthy by any means, but a lot of people, like my best friend, he just passed, like didn't have access to mental health care due to his financial situation and his insurance situation. And so it was really unfortunate because his coping mechanism ultimately was the thing that killed him. Um, and like, so it's a lot. Um, and I really tried to talk about mental health as much as I can. Um, and I know that there are a lot of other people who talk about mental health as well. Um, and I think with our voices combined, we can talk about just kind of the ways that, like, we can do better as a society, we can do better as individuals, we can do better as partners, things like that. But I'm not always like I'm not usually okay. And if I seem okay, it's either like I wouldn't say like putting on a show, it's me coping. It's like my method of coping is sometimes it's like, well, maybe if I like act like nothing's wrong, like maybe sometimes like things will be okay and I can move past it. Like sometimes I feel like 100 times better after a live that I came in feeling really bad during, because like I just get to hang out with you all and talk to you all and just shoot the shit. And that's super fun. Um, and then sometimes I get a little bit grumpy on lives, and I'm like, I feel like some people are kind of energy vampires, if you will. Like they kind of suck the energy out of the room. And maybe not other people perceive them that way. It's okay if I perceive someone to be like that, and other people don't, because that just happens. So for me, um, I think that like that's one of the things that that I've been having a little bit more trouble with recently is just that like for some like I've been going through probably more in the past like 4 months than I would say at any one point in the past several years, probably. And I haven't talked about a lot of it on live. I've kept a lot of it secret from even people who actually know me. Because there's just a lot of things involved in that. And I'm trying to get myself out of this like shame hole of like feeling shame to talk about it, even though you might think, well, Ian's totally shameless. Like, Ian, like, will talk about anything. Like, no, I won't. I promise you. There's so much stuff I don't talk about. So much stuff. But, and not because I don't they feel like it's valuable. It's just like things I find and don't find like appropriate to talk about at certain times. And, and so, like, it's nice when people like do check in on me, because like I think that um it's like it is a very nice gesture, and I always like really do appreciate it, even if I'm just like I can't really talk about it, but I appreciate it. But there's no everyone's living their own life, and everyone has to deal with their own like level of bullshit too. So they might not be in a place where they can be emotionally supportive to someone else, and I understand that too. And there's no problem with taking care of yourself first. It's a really important fact about life. Um, like, I just, like, I don't expect that of people. I guess, like, having had the past several years of my life feeling like I was not being heard, especially by medical professionals, um, with how bad my disability had gotten. Getting disability takes a long time. So, in case you haven't heard, or like people who are like, I want to get disability, but then they don't, like, they're like, oh, I couldn't wait that long. It's like, well, I couldn't wait that long, but I did. And not to say that everyone absolutely has to be in that position. Like, it's really hard getting to the point where you can get disability. I had amazing resources that I'm incredibly privileged to have gotten, but like it was not an easy process. And so sometimes people glide over the fact that like it was years of me having no income, and me having to move back into a place which was really, really dangerous to my mental health. Really, really dangerous. Um, for people like and people, once I got disability, people were like I wish I was on disability. Like, and I wanted to be like, go fuck yourself. Like, seriously, like, I wish I didn't have to get disability. I would love to go work, but I can't. I can't. Um, and like, it's this really wild thing to wrap your brain around. But the past couple months have been, hey Rudy, welcome in. Um, the past couple of months have been extremely, extremely hard for me, and I don't think that by any means have I recovered. By any means have I stabilized. Um, so, like, for those of you who don't know, like, a little bit about my story, I have like a handful of like mental health diagnoses other than bipolar disorder, although bipolar disorder has been the loudest for the past couple of years. Um, because so I got diagnosed with bipolar when I was 15 years old. Diagnosed with other things like borderline personality disorder, anxiety. Other things would come up later in the future: PTSD, ADHD. Agoraphobia was a big one that developed once I became disabled because I just couldn't go out and function. I just was so scared that everything was going to fall apart around me. And sometimes it's proven to be a little bit too, my predictions have been proven to be a little bit too accurate. Um, and so, like, those things like developed over time. And so, like, I would say that, like, bipolar, once I got it managed, like, medically, um, like, I really like saw like a big turning point in my life, and then I had like a medical situation where I stopped taking medication and completely, um, because they thought like they test your blood for like in particular mine was a mood stabilizer medication, and they thought I was within range to go up, and I went up, and my body was like, you're not doing this, and I got lithium toxicity, and it was I legitimately thought I was gonna die. Like legit, I remember being 18 years old, walking into the ER and looking at my dad in all seriousness and no dramatics at all, and I was like, Dad, I think I'm gonna die. Like, to have that realization as an 18-year-old is life changing. And like I know that there are other people who have been in like near death or like death adjacent like experiences where like it's changed them. And like I definitely think that that's something for me that like I don't think I ever quite grasped like how damaging that was for things. But eventually I like started to go back on medicine. The journey was difficult, and then I found another doctor who was willing to put me on meds that worked, and that was fine. And then like then I in September of 2019 I got a concussion, and while the concussion itself was not major by any means, the hit was small. And how it hit. It was like where it hit was apparently all of my mood functioning, like right there on the front of my forehead. I can still like, if I touch it, I still know exactly where it hit. Like if you were like, it hit here, I'm like, no, it didn't. It hit like an inch and a half down. It hit, it hit right there. And so I can still feel it, and I have like physical and emotional trauma from that. And since then, my bipolar meds have been totally out of control. And so I'm almost like, I almost change my meds every 2 weeks, which is not normal for bipolar disorder. Which is not like, that's not maintenance. That's not maintenance. You haven't reached the point of maintenance in bipolar disorder if you're changing meds that frequently. So my meds are constantly changing, and it's really, really difficult. I've also faced tons of side effects because bipolar medications are notoriously hard on your body. The biggest one is that I like lost function of my thyroid completely. Like my thyroid does nothing at all. Like it produces like no thyroid hormones at all. We have to take a synthetic thyroid medication because this medication is known for just killing your organs. I'm not on it. Well, I'm on it, but at a low dose because it has a lot of good qualities too. So it's a lot of stuff. But like, if you think that like you're looking at me and you're thinking, "Wow, Ian's so stable," like I promise you, I'm not. And like, if you could just like do me like, if you want to, like, I'm not gonna ever force anyone to like do this for me, but like, if you could do me a solid and just like when you take a look at whatever I'm going through, whatever I decide to share with you, like, please take a considerate eye with the fact that, like, one, I'm showing you what I want to show you, and two, I am not doing well. Because so many people assume because I'm not talking about how badly I'm doing, assume that I'm doing well. And honestly, the furthest cannot be from the truth. I'm doing fairly poorly right now. So uh, if if you could just do that, I think that that would make things a lot easier because then we could understand from each other's points of view that we're all trying, but um, like I'm not like I try not to like come to you all and assume that you're in the best place, and therefore like I can't, like you're like you have to deal with everything that I'm dealing with emotionally or whatever. Like I just like we can all try to meet each other where we're at and try to grow and like learn together. Um, yeah, and like I said, like I think I discovered like a long time ago, like people just don't really want to see like someone who's just like upset all the time, and then also like my emotions are really big, and like I don't know how to do small emotions. I guess is a better way to say it. Like everyone will experience big highs, big lows in their life, and in their life. For me, like just the shades of gray. Like I don't really have those because I have several disorders and it's my personality. Like just to add like to things, it's my personality that I just like everything is kind of in extremes. And I'm not like asking or like targeting or like anything like that. Like I'm not asking for like penance for like things that were said or anything like that. But like because like that's really not what like the purpose of this was. It was just me trying to have like a conversation like, hey, I know I might show that I'm not really suffering, but I'm actually really, 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 really suffering. And I don't want to sit on camera and like cry all the time. It's not helpful for me. It's not really helpful for anyone else. And like, I'd rather just like hang out with you all, chit chat, shoot the shit, watch silly movies, which we will get back to. I was going to watch a movie today, but I had already planned on talking about mental health today. Um, and finally got my internet set up. That was a journey and a half to get the router. I thought I had a therapy appointment at 5, and it was virtual, and I was starting to feel really really bad, close to like 2:33. When I was working in like the office that they have that I've been shooting a lot of my videos out of. Um, and I noticed it was warmer in there, like warmer than the rest of the AC filled rooms that the conference room shoots off of. And it was hot, like noticeably hotter. Like it just was like muggy and hot and like sweltering. But like after sitting in there for 3 hours, because that's how long my group therapy is, I was like, I think I'm gonna throw up and maybe die. Like it was so bad. And then I came back to my apartment and had this whole like trying to find this package thing because like I was like I need to get out of my clothes. I need to get in a cold shower. I need to drink as much water as possible. I need to like put my face in the ice machine. Like, I don't know. Like, I was like, do I have heat stroke? Like, legitimately, like, I think I have heat stroke, but I was inside. 'Cause I always associate like heat stroke and being outside in the sun, but like, apparently, like, you can also have like heat exhaustion. So like, that's what my therapist was like that because like, I was like, honestly, I can't even really talk about emotions right now because I feel so sick. I feel so sick. And I've been also dealing with a lot of physical illness due to my eating disorder. So it's been making it really hard for me to like eat and things like that. So I'm taking like a lot more nausea medication. There's so much stuff. But so I spent like 45 minutes on the phone with the postal service because they're like, I was like, what the fuck is happening with this package? Which I never call in because I know shit happens with packages and they'll be like, it's there, it'll be there tomorrow, and that's the end of the story. But no, that was not the end of the story. So I think I had heat exhaustion, maybe. I don't know. Like I had to like basically so like part of my panic. So like I have anxiety disorder, right? And how they classify it different now than when I got diagnosed, but you can have I think now there's like now I think it's just anxiety with panic attacks. It used to be like and like every therapist will tell you something different now. But like there's like or maybe like there was a panic disorder and there was an anxiety disorder because like you had to have panic disorder to have panic attack, but now they're saying like anxiety attacks are different than panic attacks, and I'm like, what? Like this is anyways. So like so sometimes when I have a panic attack, I become nonverbal. I cannot verbally speak to you. I can write, I can type. Usually if I'm in that position, I can type, but I'm typing like one word a minute. I'm so slow. And so like I've had to go to the hospital in a state of like mental distress, and I'm trying to tell the triage nurse who's going like a mile a minute because she's busy. I understand. I understand. But like um but I'm trying to like communicate to my wife what's like going on. My wife is really confused because I didn't get a chance to tell her before I went nonverbal. Because sometimes when you go nonverbal, you have no lead up time to it. You are just there, and so you're like, okay, I'm stressed and I'm not speaking. Or you go to speak and nothing comes out, and you're like, okie dokie. And I know that there are a lot of people out there who deal with the ability to communicate for one reason or another, whether it's chronically or whether it comes in waves like mine does. So, like, becoming nonverbal is one. And then another thing is that I do experience catatonia. I think I've had one doctor try to completely disregard it, and then I've had other doctors say that yep, that's it. So really don't know what's going on there, but like basically catatonia or becoming catatonic is like your mind is still going, but like your body has stopped. Like my first day in this apartment, I had a panic attack within. So I signed my papers at 4 p.m. By 6 p.m., I was on the ground in my bedroom. I had had a panic attack and I was catatonic and I lost track. I don't know how long I was like that. And then I like today I felt like usually with those with catatonic like moments like I have like a 2 to 3 minute window of like getting the fuck on the floor or in a place where like I'm safe. Like it's not even like I'm not even guaranteed safety on the couch. Like I needed to kind of make sure I got off the couch but safely to my bed, because like what happens if I like am kind of on the couch and I lose my balance a little bit and I can't brace myself for a fall while I'm falling. So like I need to be like really securely on a surface that I won't get hurt if I need to make sure that I'm in a position where like if I fall asleep on my arm, I won't like lose like blood to my arm. And like maybe like you think that that's an extreme. I did have a great aunt who she like fell in her bathroom, and like people didn't find her for like a couple hours, and she did develop gangrene and like lose an arm. So for me it's like not the most extreme leap, but like I just need to make sure that I'm safe. I have to think about these things. It's not all I think about, but I do have to be conscious that like these things are out there. And if I don't think about them like at all, then they could sneak up on me and really bite me in the ass. So it's like, well, how do I get there? But I can thank you, Reedy. I can hear everything. And like so like catatonia is like one of the worst feelings, I think, because like when you dissociate, which I do, but I don't do in the most common ways. Of course, I don't know what that means when I say of course, but like like there's three types of dissociation they associate with borderline personality disorder, and I have the least common of those. Most people think of like derealization, depersonalization, where you're like watching yourself on like TV and you're not really making like your brain's not there, but your body is. The type of dissociation I have is your brain thinks it's there, but then you try to recall the situation and it has been erased from the logs completely. So it's called dissociative amnesia. Super cool, super cute. Highly recommend. Just kidding. It sucks. Sorry, it's my medication reminder. Just push it down the road a little bit. But with catatonia, your brain is online the whole time. Your body is what's not online. So your body's like, I'm not moving for anything, for anybody. Nothing can make me move. People can physically move you. You couldn't put up a fight. You couldn't, like, even if you didn't want to move, like, you could not move if someone moved you. But like, if someone was like, "Hey, get out of the way," like, um, a car is coming, like, okay, I can't do anything about that. Like, I cannot move. So, and like, I'm not trying to like throw a pity party. I'm just like these are the things that I deal with, and like, so like everybody thinking that I'm fine, like literally didn't see the catatonic episode that I had earlier today that I woke up from. Like usually I don't, uh, I'll usually be so exhausted from them. I'll be awake for like a while with them. And then I've learned to just like let my mind try to relax if I can, once I can get out of it. So, what will happen is I'll have my panic attack, I'll be catatonic, I'll kind of come out of the catatonia, which my medicine does really help to shorten the time of that. I shortened it from several hours to like several minutes, to like 20 minutes. And like that's a big deal. That's a big fucking deal. Don't take my medicine. But then what would happen then is that like I would kind of like slowly like start to move again, and then I would have what I call like the anxiety hangover, where you're just like you're emotionally exhausted, you're physically exhausted, you're done. And so then I would go sleep. So usually that's my protocol with like those episodes. It's just like, okay, like we're just gonna try to like relax into this. We're not gonna like, the more you judge yourself, the more other people judge you, the worse it gets. Like if I like became like I likely would not become catatonic. I have become nonverbal during lives, and I've just been like, and like, ended the stream right there. But let's see. Sorry, so itchy. So many bugs out. Uh, so let's see. But like with the catatonic episodes, like I can kind of feel them coming. It just feels like my body is like powering down. And so like I like to have two of those in like a week and some change is like a little high for me. Usually it's like average of one a week, or like low average of one a week, I guess. But they're really challenging. But I know a lot of people face medical and mental health difficulties, and I don't sit here thinking that I'm the only one that has these difficulties or has things going on. And I try not to bring that attitude because I find that that's a really unhelpful attitude. But sometimes I do get a little irritable when like I just find that people are not really getting the picture. Hey Lydia, just talking about some of the stuff I have been dealing with lately. So yeah, I guess just like the moral of the story is like just because I like seem fine, and this goes for like literally anyone on the internet. Like you don't have to talk about something 24/7, and I'm not saying that anyone's saying you do, but like you don't have to talk about something all the time for you not to be doing well. And what you are all seeing is a curated image of my mental health and my health in general. It's not totally reflective of everything I'm going through because I do choose to keep some things private, and that's important for me, for my own mental health in a lot of ways. Because if I let everyone into every detail, there are some things that I need to process and figure out myself. There are some things that I need space and time for. There are some things that ought not be shared with people or parties that are not directly involved. You know what I mean? So like, and maybe I just frankly just don't want to share it. There's no other reason other than I don't want to. Like, and that should be good enough. And no one's asking me to share things that I don't want to share. But I just like, I feel like we've gotten quite a few new people, which is great, and I'm super appreciative of that. But I've also been in kind of like a worse mood lately, and maybe some of these people are thinking that I'm just like an asshole for kind of being an asshole sake. And like I'm dealing with so much, and I I really like I really like want to be like, and I'm constantly working on like being the best version of myself I can be and stuff like that. Constant work in progress, stuff like that. You all understand how it works. But for me, like I also have to damn it. Sometimes it's so hard to keep my train of thought. I'm just like I keep on being like, eat the brownie, eat the brownie, eat the brownie, eat the brownie. But yeah, like you just like you can't look at someone's social media, you can't look at someone's YouTube and like actually know how they're doing. And even if you're friends with someone and you think that you know a lot about them, like even still, like people do keep secrets or do divide a certain line of what they're more willing to talk about with some people versus other people, all that stuff. You just kind of never know. And like, I just want to apologize for not having been like in a great place myself. And like, while I'm doing my best, like, I recognize that I've also been like grumpier. Um, at least I've been feeling grumpier. I don't know how much is translating on screen, but I mean, you don't need to call me poor Ian because it's like this is just my life. This is just my life. But but yeah. So I think that it's just important to know that like we don't always have the whole picture, and we can try to surmise what we can with what people are willing to talk about. But assumptions have never really helped anyone when they're left unchecked, right? And so like if you assume that everything's going well, but you don't check in to make sure everything's going well. You have a very, there's always potential for us to say something or do something that could rub someone the wrong way. And then all of a sudden we're on someone's shit list and we're like, um, what did I do? And it's like, well, maybe you just said something that rubbed them the wrong way and you didn't mean to. You had the best of intentions, most pure of intentions. You pure intentions, little heart person, you. But like, you don't realize that you just caught them at the wrong time, the wrong day, the wrong moment. And because they didn't just decide to disclose that information to you, that all of a sudden you're like not maybe in like the best, sorry, my nose is itchy. That like maybe, I don't know. What I'm trying to say is like, I don't think that I've been my best for people. No, I mean, I just, yeah. No, it's cool. It's cool. I promise. We're cool. We're cool. Um, uh, yeah. I just like, I really like, I feel like a lot of something that I've had to struggle with, and this is kind of like more of a personal thing, like just speaking frankly, is just like, I feel like when you tell people you're disabled or you have like severe mental health issues, you either get the like, well, you don't look disabled, and like the invalidating of like your experience, or you get people who are like, oh, and like want to take care of you. But due to my kind of relational aspect with people who've tried to take care of me before, I just kind of have a negative. That's a totally personal thing. That's not you at all. Just right here. So like whenever people kind of have that attitude, they just say things like that. I get a little bit like, hey, like maybe let's word it differently. So you didn't do anything wrong at all. I'm not trying to call you out by any means. You're awesome. I've loved having you here, Nifty. You're awesome. Also, there's a new stitch of the month. It is the Alpine stitch. All you need to know how to do is do a chain, and really it's a variation of a double crochet. It is a front post double crochet, and I will teach you how to do that. It's a very cool looking stitch, and I'm really excited to show you all. So you can click that link and watch the video if you would like to learn that stitch. Great for textures. I really like it on solids, especially solids that have some shine to them, like an anti-pilling acrylic, or if you like the Simply Softs and stuff of the world. It is no different than any other deficiency minus M Judge. Did you say Alpine Stitch? Yeah, it's the Alpine Stitch. It's very, very similar to when you do a front post double crochet for like a ribbed cuff or something like that. But you kind of alternate it, so it gets this kind of like, I wanted a stitch that looked like wood, like kind of like a tree bark, like kind of like a tree bark, kind of like tree bark. So yeah, so that's the one that Army of Weirdos helped me pick. So that's what the stitch of the month is. I did finish. I can't show you. I'm in my boxers, which are very Halloweeny, by the way. Aren't they cute? They're little puppies. Wait, no, they're not puppies. They're ghosts. Sorry, I have a lot of Halloween boxers. I can't keep them straight. So this was my project using last month's stitch of the munch. Oh my god, last month's stitch of the month, which was the extended single crochet. Yeah, they're boxer shorts. I got them from Old Navy for pretty cheap. I don't buy from Old Navy a lot because I remember they used to be really cheap, and now they're not that cheap at all. But maybe that's because I only shop at Walmart. But yeah, so this is the bird skull tapestry that I made. The Everything is an extended single crochet. Thank you so much, Lydia. The only thing is I did a loop stitch on the bottom and the top to hold the dowels, but everything else is extended single crochet. So I'm so happy with how this turned out. I think I'm gonna have to make more of these. There's so many free patterns that people use for bracelets and stuff like that. This is actually from a bracelet website where they did the graph, and so I just followed the graph as I would like any graph pattern, and tried to make sure that I I haven't done a lot of color work. Really, this is my second time doing color work ever. So, and isn't this a black and gold amazing? I'm obsessed with it. It's so cool, and its mainstay is metallic in black/gold. So it's so pretty. But yeah, I love this so much, and it's really cool, and I'm super happy with how it turned out. I'm working on some coasters right now. They're currently drying. I had to do like a double. I had to go in, and there were some spots that weren't drying, so I looked it up, and it looks like some like uneven mixing. If you don't mix the parts up, it's epoxy resin. So if you don't mix the parts up super like perfectly, sometimes it can happen when you get like slightly sticky spots and you gotta go in. Um, yeah, the sparkle in the black is super nice. So I was surprised at how well it turned out. Color work is fun. It's stressful, but it's fun. Starting with something simple might be my best suggestion, and there are a lot of ways. Like there are a lot of patterns for like introduction to like color work and different ways you can do it, whether you want to carry your yarn and like do like intarsia, or whether you want to like um have like different bobbins or stuff like that. That's a little bit more complicated, I find, because my brain doesn't really work in bobbins and stuff like that. um but yeah, it was really fun. I think I did color work for the first time, my project right before this, which was, I know I did color work, and I remember saying it was my first time doing color work, but I don't remember what I did. I gotta figure it out. What was it? What did I do? What did I just make? I don't remember. Um, that's when you're like making stuff all the time, and you're like, yeah, I don't know. I know I was working on the submarine pumpkin, but that never really grew to what I wanted it to be. So it depends on the method that you use. So sometimes you pull the yarn through the stitch, so you work over the excess yarn with the stitch, and I think there's like 3 types of color work. And then sometimes you don't, like, you usually don't cut everything, because that's so much sewing in. That's every single row, so many stitches that you would have to like constantly keep sewing in. So usually it's like thinking about how you want to carry like this yarn to like another space, and just kind of graphically like thinking about how you want to approach it. Are you going line by line like this? Are you doing corner to corner like this? Um, and stuff like that. So there are other ways. So I would suggest like doing like some YouTube searches on like crochet color work, because I am no expert by any means. I've just done like 2 or 3 things. Um, but that turned out really well. I'm super happy with it. It's so cool looking, and I will definitely have to keep on working on that skill for sure. Um, and then, yeah, the coasters, which if the coasters turn out like I expect them to, I'm so excited to show those off to you all. And then, yeah, I guess I'll just kind of see what happens. But yeah, you probably don't want to cut your yarn if you don't have to, unless you've finished a large section of that color, or you just have to like one of that color. Usually it's about kind of like connecting all of the things. I would say for me and how my brain works, it was definitely probably one of the more. Oh, you know what? It was the top, my pride top. Um, So this was my first time doing filet crochet, and then also I did color work. So switching back and forth, especially like these spots right here, was, oh my gosh, it was so challenging. Um, but really, like, so here, because you can't carry the trans colors through the black, so you have to have like bobbins, so you have to have like another like way of going about this colorway, and then you have to have another way of going through this colorway, and then sometimes you'll meet up and you'll be able to kind of work them back in together, like right here they all come back and you start working on just one. But then the teeth were like, oh my gosh, I wanted to just die. It took me hours and hours and hours just to do 2 rows. It was so hard. Yeah, I would say it's probably the most advanced thing I've ever done in crochet. Like it's pretty difficult. But there are ways to do it. I think a cool way, like to incorporate different colors, is to do like maybe start with some like very simple mosaic crochet patterns. Just like kind of the more like the traditional, like the pattern that I used for the like Nastasia has one that I used for my mood blanket that I started. um, just really simple things like that, where you could start looking at how colors line up. And then once you can read mosaic graphs a little bit better, then you could move into some of the more specialty mosaic crochet. Mosaic crochet, uh, I'm very slow at, and I think most people are. I think it's a slow process because Winter said they were slow at it, and I was like, well, if Winter's slow at it, then like I feel less bad about being slow because Winter's like leaps and bounds better than me in every way. But I I think that there are a lot of like really cool mosaic crochet patterns out there, and being able to learn how to read those is really really cool. I did start. There's like an eye pattern by Sixel Design that I have. I also have bought a couple of their designs, but I haven't done them yet, so should get on that. But they just take so freaking long. But they have really interesting ways of kind of overlapping color rather than just like sneaking it in there like other color work. So I'm gonna let you all go, and I'm gonna turn on some TV for the night. But I love you all very much. Thank you for listening to me talk, and hopefully we'll get back on our, because tonight's night, what, 91? Right? Is that right? Is tonight night 91? 92. 91. Yeah, so 90. Tomorrow will be 90. And then we'll get back on the movie train. I'm kind of feeling like vampires or zombies or creatures. Witches could be good. Lots of witch movies and shows. It's hard to start a show like when I'm doing something like this because you want to watch more than one episode. I'll probably watch a little bit of Wednesday tonight, but yeah. So I hope you all have a great night, and